Today is 70. 70. Today 90. 80. So what are the books?
I want to put in that. It's in my car. So. It's 2 boxes.
Okay. Let's keep it in the bookstore. You are still in Dallas?
Yes, Swamiji.
When are you back?
Tonight, Swamiji.
Tonight.
Rashmi is in sunny Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Rashmi,
Yeah.
aura. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswati Namaha, Shri Satgurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram Manojavam Marudatulyavegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vadatmajam Vanarayutamukhyam Sriramadootam Sirasa Namami Santoshini Jaganmata Mama Saubhagyavriddhaye Namaskaromi Bhaktya Tvam Prasanna Varada Bhava Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashandaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Satchitanandarupaya Vishwotpattyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Sri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Mahasayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Rekhuvam Shanatham Janmatyasya yatonvayaditarata charteshva vitnaswarat Tene brahmahridaya adigavaye muhyanti yatsuraya Tejo varimridam yata vinimayo यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मप्रोज्झितकैतपुत्रपरमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभित्तक्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवो विनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि यस्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् आध्यात्मदीपमतितितिर्षतां तमोन्दं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. We are on the 4th skanda, 13th chapter. So we have seen Dhruva Charitra. Now we are going to see what happened in his lineage. Suta uvacha nishamnya kausharavinopavardhitam Dhruvasya vaikundapadadirohanam prarudhabhavo bhagavatyadokshaje prashtum punastam viduraprachakrame. Hearing the account of Dhruva's ascension to Dhruvapada as described by Maitreya, Vidura was filled with the highest devotion to Mahavishnu. Athokshaja means Mahavishnu. And he questioned the sage further. The word meaning of Adhokshaja, you understand? Atha means down. Akshaja means seeing. So, all the senses are seeing outside. But who is the seer? Paramatma. So, Athokshaja means Paramatma, that is Bhagavan. So, he questioned the sage further. So, Vidruvacha, Kete prachedaso nama Kasyapatyani surada Kasyan vavaye prakhyataha Kutravasatramasata. You have spoken of the Prachetas and of Sri Narada singing in praise of Dhruva at the sacrifice of the Prachetas. Who are these Prachetas? Whose sons were they? In what line did these famous personages take birth? Where did they conduct their satra? Manye Mahabhagavatam Naradam Devadarshanam Yena Prokta Kriya Yoga Paricharya Vidharhare. I know Narada, whom even Devas can meet only rarely, because he is one of the greatest devotees of Bhagavan. It was he who gave the code of ritual for the worship of Sri Hari. Sudharma Shilai Purushai Bhagavan Yajna Purusha Ijamano Bhakti Mata Narate Neridakila. Is it not the great devotee Narada's teaching that whoever performs his swadharma is worshipping the Lord through that performance? Sudharme nidhanam sreyaha paradharma sunushtita, Krishna said in Gita. So now yasta devarshina tatra varnita bhagavat katha mahyam chushrushave brahman katena chashtumarhasi. Please narrate to me all those accounts of Lord's doing narrated by Narada at the Satra of the Prachetas. Now Maitreya says, Dhruvasya chotkala putraha pitari prastite vanam sarvabhauma shritam shriyam naichat adhirajasanam piduhu. So he did not say immediately about Prachetas. Now he is going into the detail. The whole lineage. What is that? Utkala, the son of Dhruva, who succeeded his father on the retirement of the latter to the forest. But he had no desire for the royal throne or prosperous kingdom. Sajanmanopashantatma Nissangas samadarshanaha dadarshaloke vitatam atmanam lokamatmani. By birth, he was of peaceful mind, unattached and even sighted. And what the darshaloke vitatam atmanam lokamatmadi. It's very beautiful. He saw Paramatma pervading the whole universe, and the universe is subsisting in Paramatma. Atmanam Brahma Nirvanam Pratyastamita Vigraham Avabodharase Gatnya Anandamanusantatam. He perceived Brahman as a sole existence, peaceful, non-dual consciousness, bliss, and all-pervading. And the most beautiful one is that, and himself as none other than he. That's the beauty about that. Avabodharase atma anandam anusantatam. Now here, it's a very beautiful expression here. Bhagavatam is like that. Keep on telling you stories and suddenly some deep thoughts will be there. We have to catch that. So in higher Vedanta, especially in Nishkarma Siddhi, Upadesha Sahasri, these are the higher texts in Vedanta where analysis of Tattvamasi Mahavakya is very beautifully given. There are 4 chapters. Each chapter consists of 100-120 verses to establish what Tattvamasi Mahavakya. There, Sureshwaracharya says that without ego, you cannot know Brahman. So, ahankara is necessary as a linga. Otherwise, Brahman himself cannot reveal that I am Brahman. So, in that respect, any mithya vastu in the creation can indicate Brahma Tattva. Because if you say this particular object is, that isness is the existent Sat aspect of Brahman. So whenever you say, I know this, means what? It exists. Only an existent vastu you can say, I know. When I say, I know this, means idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityabhidiyate. 13th chapter. This body is kshetraha. Then what Bhagavan said? Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. In all the kshetras, field of experiences, I am the knower. So that means what? Every object that exists in this world, Bhagavan is present. In what way? As Sat. Now that knowledge is not enough for realization. Why? Because Sarvam Brahmamayam. This is the statement. Sarvam Brahma. Sadashiva Brahmendra also sang Sarvam Brahmamayam Re Re. Sarvam Brahmamayam. But that is the vision of Mahatma. But that will not make him Brahman. Why? Because only existent aspect he will know. But Brahman has got 2 other aspects also. Chaitanyam and Ananda. That can be experienced only when you say, Aham Brahma Asmi. Because Aham means ego here. But that ego is not the meaning of Aham. When you say Aham Brahmasmi, it is the Lakshyartha, secondary meaning, not the primary meaning. Primary meaning is what? Body, mind, intellect. Identifying with body, mind, intellect is the ego we recognize. But that is not Brahman. But what is the Lakshyartha? Ego is only a container. And what is the content? Consciousness. This understanding is the one that liberates one. So, ego is not to be condemned. It should be used. For what? For a higher purpose. Continuing. Atma, okay. Avyavachinna yogakni dakta karmamalashaya sarupam avarundhano natmanonyam tadikshata.
he said that. Jadandhavadironmatta Mukakritiratanmatihi Lakshita Padhibalanam Prashantarchirivanalaha. Ignorant people meeting him on the way mistook him for a deaf and dumb person, or a blind man, or a senseless person. For like a fire that has consumed its fuel and died down, his real nature was not revealed externally. That is the nature of Paramatma. Even Mukta Purushas, they never show their identity. Then what happened? Ministers thought that this king is useless. Worldly sense he is useless. So what they did? Matvatam jadamunmattam kulavriddha samandrinaha vatsaram bhupatim chakrur avayyam sambhrame sutam. The wise ministers and the headmen of the clans, finding him behaving like an idiot or a useless, senseless person, placed on the throne in his place his younger brother, Vatsara, the son of Brahmi. So he had two wives, right? Now that lineage is given here. Survidhirvatsaraseshta bharya sudashadatmajan pushparnam tikmaketum cha ishamurjavasum jayam. Vatsara's consort Surviti gave birth to 6 sons, and their names also given. Any name you can take, for somebody ask you, I'm expecting a child, give me a name. Pushparna, Tikmaketu, Isha, Urja, Vasu, and Jaya. Of these, Pushparna, the first son, had 2 wives named Prabha and Dosha. What name, Dosha? Prabha gave birth to 3 sons, Prata, Madhyama, and Sayankal. Saya. They are the deities of 3 Sandhyas. Dosha's children were Pradosha, Nishitha, and Vyusta. These are the deities of twilight, midnight, and dawn. Of this, Vyusta had son named Sarvatejas by his wife Pushkarini. Sarvatejas had by his wife Akuti a son, the Manu Chakshush, whose wife Nadwala gave birth to several sons. Now their names also given: Puru, Kutsa, Trita, Dyumna, Satyavan, Rta, Vrata, Agnishtoma, Atiratra, Pradyumna, Shibi, and Ulmukha. Now think about this. Shuka Maharshi remembered all these names. No. They're different. Akuti Prasudi is Manu's children. Now the 18th verse. Sunītāngasya ya patni sushubhe venamulbhanam yattau shīlyātsarājasya nirvinno niragat purat. Anga's wife. So Anga, one of the children, Anga's wife Sunita gave birth to a son named Vena. Just to tell that only all these things are. Who turned out to be extremely cruel by nature, utterly disappointed by his son Vena's contact. King Anga absconded from the palace. Sometimes bad children are also good to get vairakyam, you see. They are good children. That's why Tukaram Maharaj said, Deva, you gave me such a wife, so I won't get attached. Now the story briefly told. Then afterwards Viduruji is asking more details. Okay. So that's the style. Mamangashe bukkupita vagvajra munayakila gata sostasya bhuyaste mamandur dakshinam karam arachake tata loke dasyupipidita praja Jato Narayanam Shena Pruturadhyakshidishwaraha. So, because of his cruelty, Vena was struck dead by the thunderbolt of the curse of the sages. The sages then churned the right arm of the dead Vena. With the death of Vena, the land became without a ruling authority. Anarchy led to the oppression of the people by thieves and all unsocial elements. So when the sages churned the right arm of Vena, out came from it a partial incarnation of Mahavishnu, known as Prithu, who was the first of all kings. So even in a bad person, there is something good. Now Viduraji is asking, Tasya Sheelanidhe Sadhor Brahmanyasya Mahatmanaha Rajnya Katham Abhudrishta Praja Yadvimana Yayau Kim Vamho Vena Yuddhishya Brahmadanda Mayuyujan Dandavradadhare Rajni Munayo Dharmako Vidaha. How is it that so high-souled, pious, devoted and noble king happened to get a son cruel enough to make the king run away from his kingdom? How is that possible? What was the sin of Vena that induced the sages, well versed in the sacred law, to curse him to death, even after knowing that he was the ruling king and was needed to maintain law and order in the country? Navadyeya prajapalaha prajapirakhvanapi yadaso lokapalanam vibhartyo jassu tejasa. Even a sinful king should not be treated with disrespect by his subjects. For the king embodies in his function the powers of all the divine protecting forces. Now, Vidurji is asking answer to all this. Now, Maitreya Vacha. Angoshwamedham rajashi rajahara mahakradum najaknur vevadastasmin nahuta brahmavadibihi. The pious king Anga performed the great Ashwamedha sacrifice, but none of the devas presented themselves there, though invoked by sages well versed in Veda. Tamurchis vismadastatra ejamanam athar tvijaha avimshi huyamanani nate ghrannandi devata. So the sacrificial priest said to the king, in great surprise that deities were not receiving his oblations offered with Vedic mantras. They said, O king, Rajan, avinshi dushtani shraddhaya saditani te chandamse yatayamani yojidani dhridavratehe. O king, the sacrificial offering of yours are pure, fresh, and prepared with faith and devotion. The Vedic mantras are being uttered by experts without any fault. Navida mehadevanam helanam vayamanvapi yenna grinnandi bhagan swan ye deva karma sakshinaha. We do not see any flaw anywhere which can account for the deities failing to witness the sacrifice and receive their portion. Maitreya Vacha Ango Dijavajashrutva Yajamanas Sudurmana Tatprashtum Vejraja Dvacham Sadasyam Tadanujnayam Agachandyahuda deva nagrinnandi grahaniha satasat patayo pruta kimavadyam maya kritam. Anga, the master of the sacrifice, was extremely sorry to hear the report of the Brahmanas. In order to know the reason for this, he broke his vow of silence, and with the permission of the priest, addressed the leaders of the assembly there. The devas are not coming even when invoked. They are not receiving the pots with their sacrificial offering. O elders of the sacrificial assembly, tell me what wrong I have done to merit this unfortunate situation. What did I do wrong? Now, in that sacrificial assembly, Sadasat Pataya Ujuhu Naradeveha Bhavato Nakham Tavan Manastidam Astekam Praktanamakam Yadihe Driktwamaprajaha. O king, you have not committed any sin in this life. But in your previous birth, you have done something. Result of this, you are suffering this. There is no putra labha for you because of this. Tatha sadhaya bhadram te atmanam suprajam nripa ishtatre putrakamasya putram dasyadi yajnabhuga. May good befall on you, O king. Try to have an issue, in which case the devas will accept your offering. So when you marry, children also required. Only then there is something called pankta. Pankta means 5 aspects in every yajna. One is the yajamana and yajamana patni, then yajamana child, then wealth. Unless you have money, you can't perform yajna. Then mantras. So these are the 5 aspects of any appropriate mantras. Mantras means they call panktam. In Taittiriya Upanishad it is a pankteneva panktak srinoti, must have heard. So that's what it is. So here child is necessary. Why couple want to perform such yajnas like Ashwamedha Yaga or Putragami. Now, what is that? They advised him to perform Putragamishti Yaga. Like in Ramayana, Dasharatha Maharaj did, same way. So if you worship the Lord with a desire for an issue, He will surely give you a son. Tatha svabhagadeyani grihishyanti divaugasaha yajna yadyatya purushat sakshat apatyaya harirvrtaha. If you devote yourself to Sri Hari for the sake of an issue, all the devas will accept their sacrificial portions. Tamstan kaman haridyatyan yan kamayate janaha aradhito yathevesha tata pumsam phalodaya. What men desire, that he gives. The fruits that his worshippers get depend upon the nature of their worship. Yom yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya architum arhati tasya tastara mahima. That is that 8th chapter, I think. Bhagavan gave that. Whatever you worship, they will get, with Shraddha, they will get benefit. So that power also I have given. Iti vyavasita viprastasya rajnya prajataye purodasham niravapan shipivishtaya vishnave tasmat purusha uttasto hemamalyamalambarah hiranmayena patrena siddhamadaya payasam. Accordingly, Raja performed Putragamishti Yagam with the help of the Ritviks. Then as a result, from that fire, a celestial being came up with heavenly made payasam. Savipranumato raja गृहीत्वाञ्जलिनौदनम् अपग्राय मुदायुक्तः प्रादात्पत्न्या उदारधी. With the permission of the priest, the king received that payasam, and after smelling it himself, gave it to his wife with great joy. Sa tat pumsavanam ratni prasya vai patyuradate garbham kala upavritte kumaram sushuve praja. The queen who was barren consumed the payasam which had the power to make her fertile. Soon the queen was pregnant and a son was born to the couple in due time. Then what happened? Now comes the story. Sabalayeva purushaha mata ahamanurataha adharmavshodbhavam mrityam tena bhavata dharmikaha. This is called genealogy. Even though he was blessed with the son as a result of Mahayajna, Putrakameshti Yagam, but the genes that he got was totally different. Sabala eva purushaha matam aham anuvrataha adharmashodbhavam mrityam. So in mother's lineage, the child from the first followed in the footstep of his maternal grandfather, Mrityu, mother's father, Mrityu, who represented adharma. He grew into a cruel and unrighteous person. Now, children come also, we don't know what samskara they bring. Whether they come from the mother's lineage or father's lineage, we don't know. These are all unknown. Sasharasanamuddesya mrigayurvanagocharaha anyasadur mrigandinan Veno savityaraunjas hunjanaha. With the bow in hand, he chased animals in the forest like a hunter and indulged in the cruel practice of killing large numbers of innocent creatures. So people began to call him Vena. Vena means tyrant. Akride Kridado Balan Vayasya Nadi Darunaha Prasahya Niranukroshaha Pashumaramapa Marayate. On the playground, he killed his playmates heartlessly like animals. In many ways did the king try to correct him, but failed and became very miserable on account of it. Now he reflected, 43rd verse. Prayena bhyarchito devo ye praja grihamedinaha kadapatya pratam dukkham yena vindandi durbharam yadappapiyasi kirti adharmacha mahanranam yato viroda sarvesham yada adiranandakam kastam prajapadesham ve mohabandhanamatmanah pandito bahumanyeda yadartha kleshada griha. It is indeed a householder without an issue that must be considered as having worshipped the Lord and received His grace. So it is a blessing that you don't have such child. Why? Because he will be saved from the prospect of unbearable sorrow that an unworthy son can give, as in my case. No intelligent man would welcome that embodiment of delusion called a son, who is the cause of untold misery, unrighteousness, antagonism, and mental worries. The householder's life is plagued with sorrow if there is such a son. Kadapatyam varam manye sadapatyachujaam padat nirvidyeda grihan martyo yat klesha nivaha griha. In other respect, however, it is better to have a bad son causing great sorrow than to have a good son. Why? For when life in the house becomes very miserable on account of a bad son, then there is a chance of one developing intense renunciation for worldly life. He become vairagi, tivra vairagi. So thus, evam nirvinnamana nirvo grihan nishitha utthaya mahodayodayad alapta nidron ubalakshito nirve hitva gado vena suvam prasuptam. Thus, being filled with the spirit of renunciation, the sleepless king got up one midnight and, unknown to anyone, left the splendor of his palace and his sleeping wife. Siddhartha, that is what he did, right? Siddhartha. Now, finding that their king had disappeared, all others started searching for him, but they could not find him. The example here given is very interesting. Vijñāya nirvityagadam padim praja purohita atya suhൃദ്ഗണാദയഃ vichikyururva matishokakatara yatha nigūಢam purusham kuyoginaha. Kuyoginaha, pseudo yogis, wander about here and there in vain in search of the Lord. Kuyoginaha. People who doesn't know the real path, or he doesn't have a guru, and what happened in search of Bhagavan, they will waste their life searching the wrong side, here and there. Same way, they were searching for the king here and there, but they could not find him. Alakshayanda padavim prajapader hadotyama pratyupa satyade purim rishin sametan apivandya sashravo nevedayan paurava bhartruvillabam. Failing to learn the whereabouts their king, they gave up the search and returned to the city. Then they approached a group of rishis who had gathered in a spiritual congregation and intimated to them with tears in their eyes about the disappearance of their king. Maitreya Vacha, 14th chapter. Brigvadayaste munayo lokanam ksemadarshina goptarya sadivai nrinam pashyanda pasushamyatam. Bhrigu and other rishis, finding that without a king the people were relapsing into animality, called the mother of Vena to find a solution. For the good of the land, they installed Vena as king, in spite of the disapproval of the ministers. There is no other choice. But one thing would happen. Viramadaramahoya sunidham brahmavadinah prakritya sammatam venam apyashinjan patim bhuva. So, okay, they went and approached his mother and then made him the king. Then what happened? Shrutva nrupasanagadam vena madrugra sasanam nililyurdasya vapsadya sarpatrasta ivakavaha. Hearing that the fierce Vena become the king, all the dacoits and thieves ran away in fear. Just as rats disappear before a serpent. Example, beautiful example. How the rat disappears, serpent is there. Or cat. Cat is also good. Sa arudha nirvastana unnatoshta vibhudhibihi avamene mahabhagan tabdas sambhavidaswadaha. Now what was the order after he became the king? It is given in the 6th verse. Na yashtavyam na datavyam na hodavyam dujagvachit idin nyavarayadhyartham dharmam bheri ghoshena sarvashaha. Bheri ghoshena sarvashaha. So with what he called drum beating, he announced. What did he announce? O Brahmanas, you shall from hereafter perform no sacrifices. You shall not give gifts. You shall not offer any oblation in fire. So he forbade all religious activity. Now, seeing the situation, all the rishis assembled, conference, Rishi Sammelan. Now what is to be done? Now they said, the 8th verse, Aho ubhayata praptam lokasya vyasanam mahate darun ubhayato deepte eva taskarapalayoho. Like a piece of wood when it is burned from both sides. Same way, the people are suffering. Not only thieves, but also of the king. That's why they said wood is burned from both sides. One side thieves, another side is the king. King himself is the biggest thief. Arajaka bhayadesha कृतो राजतदर्हणः तदोप्यासीत् भयं त्यज्य कथं स्यात् तुस्ति देहिनाम्. Now, for fear of anarchy, we made him the king. Now, though he was not fit for it, but we made him. That's a solution. Now that king himself has become the source of fear for the people. Now we are experiencing it, isn't it? Vena. Aho riva payas posha poshagasyapyanartha brite vena prakrityeva khalaha sunitha garpasambhavaha. To feed and nourish a serpent with milk is dangerous even to the man who does so. As the son of Sunita, Vena is by nature brutish. Kalaha. Now what is to be? In spite of this, we made him king in the belief that he, he will protect the people. But now he seems to be bent on ruining the people. Now, because we were responsible for this, his sins also partially will affect us. Now they thought that let us go and talk to him. We can make any reform. This is called, what is that? Political solution. Through negotiation, isn't it? But they knew that whatever advice we gave, he will reject. They knew it. Because in that case, they said, we will burn him with our curse. With that resolution, they went. Now they went to the king. King received him, met them nicely, and they said, they gave advice. Look at this advice. Muneha uchuhu nrapavarya nibhode datyate vitnyavayamabho ayushri balakirti nam tavatata vivardhanam. O great king, please listen attentively to what we want to communicate to you. By so doing, you will gain longevity, prosperity, fame, and strength. Dharma acharita pumsam vangmanakaya buddhivihi lokan vishokan vitarat yathan antyamasanginam. The righteous action that men do by word, mind, body, and intellect enable them to attain to the joys of the heavenly regions if they are prompted by desires, and to the eternal state of mukti if they are without desires. So if your conduct is good, if you live nobly, as a result of it, you will go to heaven. If you have the desire to enjoy, see, people like to enjoy here, but then afterwards you get tired, they will think that maybe heaven mein acha hai. So they will think that heavenly pleasures are better. बोलते हैं ना, इंडिया में तो सोचते हैं लोग अमेरिका में आके मजा करेंगे, तो इधर आते हैं. That is heaven for Indians. America is heaven. So like that. But if you have desire, you will go to heaven. But if you don't have desire, you will gain mukti. Sate ma vinasheddhira prajanam kshema lakshanaha yasmin vinashte nirvati aushyaryadavarohati. O brave one, may you not be devoid of virtue, dharma, which is reflected in the people's welfare. Good fortune desert a king who is not righteous. Rajanna sadhvamatyebhya choradibhya praja nirbaha rakshan yata balim ghrunnan iha prepya jamodate. O king, a king will attain to joy in this world and the next if he protects his subjects from oppressive officers and thieves and collect taxes in accordance with the spiritual law. That is called ruling governance. And another thing they said, Tasya Ratnyo Mahabhaga Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavanaha Paritushyanti Vishwatma Tishtato Nijashasane. That he didn't like it. What is that? Whatever countries people worship the Lord through their duties, sincere performance of their duties, as set forth in the law of Varnashrama Dharma, with the rulers of such countries who thus enforce his commandments, the Lord, who is the creator of all beings, will be highly pleased. And they said, Bhagavan is the ultimate controller of the destiny of the world. He will be pleased with one. There is nothing that one cannot attain. All the worlds and their protecting divinities make offering unto him. Then they said, you should encourage your subjects to perform yajnas, offer gifts, and according to the Vedic injunction, On account of the yajnas, the Supreme Hari will be pleased, and he being pleased, all the various devas will also be pleased. Not only the country, but on you also. On no account should these devas be outraged. Now you see Vena's reply. Balishabadayuyam va adharme dharmamaninaha ye vrittidam patim hitva charam patimupasate. It is a pity that you mistake our own vice to be a virtue. Pity that you mistake your own vice to be a virtue. Why? He says, overlooking me, the king, from whom you derive your livelihood. You go after another master, like an unchaste woman after her paramour. Avajananyami mudha nriparupinamishwaram nanu vindanti debhadram ihaloke paratracha. They call him, he is calling them mudha. Those who insult the king, who is none but the Lord in that form. I am the Lord. He will never attain good here or in the hereafter. Ko yajna purusho nama yatravo bhaktiridrishi bhartrasneha viduranam yathajare kuyoshitam. Who is the yajna purusha? The Lord worshipped through all yajnas, to whom you direct your devotion as harlots do towards their lovers. Look at the language he uses. Vishnur virinjo girisha indro varyu yamo ravihi parjanyo dhanadas somaha chitiraknirapatpatihi. Like Vishnu, in the king is present all the devas. Agni, Lord like Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, Indra, Soma, Agni, Varuna, and all others who are supposed to bless and punish mortal. In fact, the king is the embodiment of all the devatas. Therefore, tasman mam karmabhir vipra ejatvam gadamatsaraha belincha mahyam harada mattonya kogra bhuk puman. Look at this. Audacity. O Brahmanas, therefore, O Brahmanas, without further ado, offer your worship to me, the king. Pay my taxes without stinginess. Who is there to be adored other than myself? Maitreya said, Itham viparyayamatihi papiyan utpatam gadaha anuniyamanat tatyajñam na chakre brashtamangalaha. Thus that luckless, perverted and sinful Vena did not heed the words of advice given to him by the rishis. when the rishis were iti te satkridastena dvija panditamanina bhagnayam bhavyayanyayam tasme vidurachakruduhu. When the rishis were insulted by the pretentious scholarship of Vena. As we are talking, this is called Rakshasa Vedanta, I see. And they found that their noble prayer for the welfare of the world rejected, their anger was aroused. And they said, Hanyatamesha papa prakritidarunaha Jivan jagadasavashu kurute basmasad dhruvam. Let him be destroyed, let him perish. He is by nature a perverted monster. To let him live is to allow the world to be reduced to ashes. An evil person like him deserved not to sit on the throne. For see how shamelessly he insults even Mahavishnu, the object, the Lord of all worship. Who else but this Vena, this perverted fellow, would indulge in such derogatory words against the Lord, by whose blessing he has attained to such prosperity? Itham vyavasitahantu rishayo rudhamanyavaha nijaknur hunkrutervenam atamachyutanindaya. Achyutanindaya. Rishis who now resolved to destroy him express their anger, and by their utterance of mantra, hum, one hunkara, that was enough, killed him. Who was already all but dead, owing to his insulting the Supreme Lord. Now what happened? Rishibhir swashramapadam gyate putrakalevaram sunita palayamasa vidyayogena shochati. Now rishis went away, but his mother, Sunita, was attached to her son. So she kept the body preserved. Now then what happened? When the king is dead, naturally all the dacoits came back. Again it became a problem. Anarchy, looting, shooting started. Now all the people went up to the rishis and said, what have you done now? Now we have no king. All those dacoits went away, they came back. Brahmanas samargritsyando dinanam samupekshakaha Sravate brahmadasyapi pinnabhandatpayo yatha. Brahmana might be even-sighted and calm in disposition, but if he cannot sympathize with the afflicted, all the merits of his austerity comes to none, like the water kept in a broken pot. See? Lakshana of Brahmana also said, Brahmana here is Mahamunis, great rishis. Great rishis should not retire to forest and meditate only. They should be thinking about the welfare of the society. That's the idea here. Bhagavatam, everything is given. Now if you go to Himalayas, if you talk to interview some Mahatmas, come to this. Gurudev did that many times. He went up and met all these Mahatmas and told them, hey, let us go to the world. We have a lot of work to do to revive our Hinduism. You know, the answer he got, नीचे तट्टी है. ऐसा language use किया है. Tatti means what? Fecal matter. So in this world it is dirt. We don't want to get dirty ourselves. That was the answer given. So this is not a story, it is true. That's the attitude they have. So think about it. But here it's given. But they will go for bhiksha also. So they depend upon the society for their survival, but they don't want to help the society. Look at this. So it is the duty of Mahatmas to come down and, seeing the situation, help to revive the society. Then they thought the line of Rajarshi Anga should not extinct in this way. Why? Because that dynasty has produced many great people. Now thinking like this, 43rd, Vinischitterva mrishayo vipannasya mahipate mamantururum tarasa tatrasid bahukodara. Thinking like this, the rishi churned the thigh of the dead Vena, whereupon a dwarfish person came out of it. Kaka Krishnodi Hraswango Hraswabahur Mahahanuhu Hraswapan Nimna Nasagro Rektakshastamra Urdhvajaha. These are description of that person came out. He was black like a crow. Kaka Krishna. All the part of his body, including his arms and legs, were short. His jaws were broad. His nose was flat. His eyes red. And his hair coppery. Tantu Devanatam Deenam Kim Karomi Divadinam Nishidetya Bruvantata Sanishadattato Bhavate. He approached and made obeisance to these rishis and asked them what they want me to do. What can I do for you? They told him, Nishida, means sit down. So he became Nishada. So that is how the Nishada tribe came. The forest tribe. So we can, Ramayana you say Nishada Raj. So he became the progenitor of that Nishada tribe. Tasya vamshadu naishada girikanana gocharaha yenaha jayamano venakalmashamulbanam. As the dwarf was born heir to all the sins to Vena. So as these are all the Nishada represent all the sins of Vena. The descendant became an uncivilized tribe, wandering in the hills and forest. Now then what happened? Maitreya Vacha Atatasya Punarvipraira Putrasya Mahipate Bahubhyam Madhyamanabhyam Mitunam Samapadyata Tadrishtva Mitunam Jadamrishayo Brahmavadinaha Uju Paramasandhushta Vidutva Bhagavat Kalam. Next, the sages churned the arms of the issueless Vena. As a result, a couple and a man and a woman emerged. This is called cloning, isn't it? Those rishis, followers of the Vedas, were enjoyed to find that couple were part of the Supreme Mahavishnu. She said, Yesha Vishnor Bhagavata Kala Bhuvana Palini Iyam cha Lakshmya Sambhuti Purushasya Napayini. The male is a part of Mahavishnu's protective aspect, and the other, the female, is part of Mahalakshmi, who is never disassociated from him. Atradu pradhamo rajnyam puman prathayita yashaha pradhurnama maharajo bhavishyati prudushravāha iyam sadudati devi gunabhoshana bhushana archirnama vararoha prathumeva varundhati. The man will be called Prithu and the girl will be called Archi, Mahalakshmi herself. Prithu is a part of Mahavishnu incarnated in this world for his protection, and this Archi Shri ever devoted to Mahavishnu, following wherever he goes. Now Maitreya talks about this Prithu Raja. Now Prithu Raja, don't think that he was born as a little boy and all that, a little child, grown up. As soon as he was churned out, he became young man. No childhood, no education, nothing. No going to college, nothing of that sort. Very Rakshasas also like that. As soon as they are born, they become big. Now Prithu Charitram comes. What are the points to be taken from here? Number one, even though you have the worst sin, it can give you vairagya, worst son. So even though you have the worst son, but it can give you vairagya, because Anga left home and attained moksha. Second point, Rishi should get involved when it is necessary for the welfare of the society. Third, even in the worst man, there is divinity. These are the 3 points to take home. We will see the Prithu Charitram next class, okay? The Charitram is very interesting, and Pradhu's teaching is also there. Pradhu is the Raja who divided urban area, all through divisions and all that, he created it. Law and order situation, all was established by him. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.